Well, most ATV trails are expected to open up later this week, and folks sure are itching to get outside and enjoy some outdoor activities.
Yeah, and joining us now are Jenny Little, the president of the Topsham Trailriders Club, and Tom Rumpf, president of the China Four Seasons ATV and Snowmobile Club. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh my God, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think the big question here is, when does the season officially start?
Well, I know, Tom, you have
We have set dates in China.
Okay.
June 1st to Columbus Day is our set dates that we open.
State-wise, though, they kind of put us at May 15th as
Yep.
a guideline. But I think given all of the saturation that we've received, thankfully it's been increment, but this past weekend, I know Topsham, we had almost 3 inches of rain. So it's quite soggy. So they certainly allow the clubs to reserve the right to delay opening if it's going to preserve the conditions of the trails, really.
And speaking of that, I mean, you want to open up some May 15th, some in June, but talk about the work that goes into this. You're talking about, you know, some of the storms over the winter that had trees down, branches down, and then you throw in all the rain we've had. So
Yes.
I'm sure it takes an army to get those trails ready.
It's volunteers. It's one thing to join a club. We would promote both of us to join a club, but put some volunteer time in, because it takes volunteers to do all that. And I think we're both lucky because we both are snowmobile and ATV, so we're out all year long clearing trails, keeping things going.
I feel we're blessed in that way. I mean, we honestly, like, Topsham put in almost 1,100 hours last year, and we lucked out in the weather department in that way. So as far as, I mean, you've got to put the money into it too, but you're right, the volunteers and without the generosity, honestly, we couldn't exist if we didn't have our landowners to allow us to do this work. And we have many user groups that will explore our trails. So we try to put our best foot forward in keeping these trails, I mean, I guess tolerable, that they can work, they can use them, I guess.
Yeah.
And it is landowner, the landowners, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have these trails for everybody to go out and enjoy.
Right. How important are these landowners to you guys? And it's really important for people to respect their land as well, especially with, all this rain we've had. It can get messy out there.
I mean, like, for this time of the year, everyone's got the itch. You were talking about allergies earlier, as far as it's kind of an easy way to do that, in on all honesty, is to, if you have that preseason, join us for some preseason work inspection work parties. Join us by helping during these trail work parties. Or maybe you're like, well, I can't, maybe you live out of state and you want to help monetarily. Sure, absolutely, but come and join the club. We're a pretty welcoming group. We're pretty laid back, but we also are efficient. We like to get stuff done.
It's mind-boggling to me. I mean, you look at how much people like to come in here for the breweries, how they like to come here to go skiing. But people forget that snowmobiling and ATV brings in, like $1 billion into the state. So talk about the importance of this part, that a lot of people don't realize that, how important it is for the state's economy.
We have almost, over 6,000 trails, ATV trails alone.
Statewide.
Statewide, yeah, all the way from Fort Kent all the way down to Saco Hollis area. And as far as, I mean, it's mind-blowing as far as what the economy, I mean, you constantly, every weekend, we go out every weekend. Right. My husband and I, literally from May 15th to November 15th when the trails close, every weekend we're out riding, and all you see is just, it's an industry that, really shouldn't be reckoned with, so to speak, or shouldn't be.
And I do a study every year because we get some grant money through our town as well to maintain the trails. Yeah. And we bring in $200,000 to $300,000 a year just in gas, food to the local restaurants, the landing down there. They, buy ice cream, restaurants for gas, and all the equipment that you need. And it's really, it's a growing thing. With snowmobile season getting shorter, ATV season is definitely, we need to bring in the people to do this.
That's right, and there's so many people, like we said, itching to get out there. So do you guys have any safety tips for people? Because, they really want to get out there, but there's a lot of things that you should keep in mind before heading out to the trails.
I would check always before you leave, make sure you do your preseason check on your machine. Make sure the oil's up and, your tire pressure, your belt's good, that you have all the equipment that you might need. Spare gasoline, we had a spare tire, the situation. But you also want to check with the local club to ensure that there's no hazards, that there's nothing hindering you from being able to. I will say constantly on social media, I think the ATV community is very forthcoming with sharing information. But you also want to ride prudently. You don't want to ride excessively. I know we're all going to be flooding the trails here before long, but let's not, we want to be respectful and mindful of those, because disrespect, unfortunately, behaviors like that, unfortunately, is what often causes a trail to shut down. We don't want that to happen.
You spoke about the ATV community. Talk about how special it is. You have this one bond, this one thing in common, right? You can disagree on just about everything else, but you can agree on how much fun to get out on ATV is.
It is, and we have anybody from the younger kids to Grammy and Grandpa. They're bringing out, they buy the big 4-seaters and they bring their grandkids out. It really gets people. And it really brings people outside and back to
really.
enjoy the outdoors instead of just, all the, in front of the screens all the time. It brings people out. You get to see some really wilderness, and actually, there's a lot of great observation places in each set of trails to stop and take pictures and just look at the beautiful landscape.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'll never remember growing up. I mean, I've learned my fair share of how to operate an ATV and a side-by-side, but you know what? They're pretty judge-free. As long as you're doing it respectfully. They're like, dude, think of it this way, Jenny, but it really is, I call it my second family.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's, when you're down, they'll pick you up, and they're very generous, and they're just positive, upbeat, because honestly, we're just a team trying to work together.
Yeah.
We're just trying to keep the trails open, and but if you have anyone has any interest, honestly, look us up. Topsham, China, but any local club. What, 140 clubs in the state of Maine?
I think there's, close to 140 clubs.
We're running out of time here, but do you guys have a website where people can find you guys and contact you about
Sure.
volunteering or joining?
Topsham is www.topshamtrailriders.com, and look us up. An easy way to get our trail map, as well as our first event. Just a quick plug for June 7th, our Ken Snowden Second Memorial Ride, Pittsfield to Greenville, provided everything opens at that time. China.
And ours is China4seasons.org. Go on to there or our Facebook page. You'll get all of our information. We post 3 or 4 times a week on that.
All right, you guys, thanks for coming in.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
ATV season. All right.
Yes.
Yes, soon.